Hey guys, I'm back again, and it's another blessed day to be on the bike. But today, I got a little bit of bad news to share with you guys. I'm not on my Trek 520 Grando today. I'm back on the workhorse bike, got a few errands to run, and this is my main commuter bike. So, I had to let the 520 rest today, and I definitely did not want to. I had made a decision when I first got my Trek 520 Grando that, you know what, I'm still gonna use my good old Schwinn Frontier to do all my major commuting needs, but I would break the 520 Grando out every now and then until I took a big trip. And of course, I would use the 520 Grando. So today, man, I gotta go get cat litter and some other things. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna leave the 520 Grando at the house. But what I love about the 520 Grando is it works a whole different muscle group, man. My legs actually feel a little bit of soreness after I ride the 520 Grando, and it's a great soreness. I actually love that feeling of having new muscles getting worked. I can't lie, man. It's a beautiful day out here. It's a little brisk, so I got the jacket on. But it's a perfect day to be riding a bike, man. A perfect day. I'm loving this ride right now. So lately, man, I've been totally consumed with doing research on my Tour Divide race for 2024. I've been studying and studying and studying, man. And like I say, I'm not going there just to participate. I'm gonna do my best to win that damn well race. And so I was studying the top riders, their equipment, and things of that nature. I was looking at my lighting, my bags, my supplies, things of that nature. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get that. But then I ran across something that had me a bit concerned. I looked at the top riders and their bikes, and their cassettes were a lot bigger than the one my Trek 520 is equipped with. And for all of you guys that aren't bike nerds and don't know all the numbers, because I don't know all the numbers either, they had a 50-tooth cassette. And a cassette is basically the mechanism that allows your bike to have a lot more gears, so you can do a lot more climbing and things of that nature. Well, to put it into perspective, I have a 36-tooth cassette compared with people who have a 50-tooth cassette that ride on this race. So I was a lot lower in capabilities than they were. So yeah, I said this is no big deal. The only thing I have to do is ride up here to Trek and tell them to give me a bigger cassette on the Trek 520 Grando. No problem. Easy problem to fix. Hell no, that was not the case. When I got to Trek, I didn't talk to Morgan. He was out, and I hope he's doing okay. I know his leg was hurt, so maybe he's out for medical reasons, I'm not sure. But I did talk to a technician who does a lot of work on the bikes. He said, man, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're talking about riding the Rockies, you're gonna have a very tough time on this bike. He said, I'd be surprised if you even make it on this bike. It's gonna be a lot harder than anybody else. I said, wow. He said, now, to change your cassette, we're gonna have to change your derailleur. And once again, for all of you people that aren't bike nerds, a derailleur is a mechanism that allows your chain to move along the cassette, going from harder gears to easier gears. And he says, man, we're gonna have to change all of that. Then he said, we're gonna have to change your shifters. And those are the things that are on my handlebars. And when I click them, it tells the derailleur to move my chain to where I want it to be. He says, we're gonna have to basically remake your whole bike's system. And I have a 2x chain mechanism on my front derailleur. And he says we're gonna have to remove that and make it a 1x system. And the truth is, when I heard that, I was like, man, I do not like the sound of that, because I love a 2x system. And there are bikes that are made for that race that have a 2x. But in my case, I would have to change it. And all I was thinking is, man, this Trek 520 Grando won't be in its original condition. I'm basically changing this bike from everything it was made to be. And he told me that the cost of all these changes were gonna be well over $1,000 if I wanted to get the correct things to have me halfway competitive in this race. My first thoughts was, man, I don't want to change my Trek 520 Grando. It's a classic, you know, it was built a certain way. They don't make them anymore. If I go to tearing this bike down, it's basically gonna ruin the value of this bike. You know, I need to keep it original. And my second thought was, hey Jay, why don't you just drop out of the race? You can't afford to make all these changes, man. Just leave it alone. Guess what? Keep doing your other YouTube channel and don't worry about racing. That was my other thought. So I actually came to two decisions. One, I'm not gonna mess with the Trek 520 Grando. I am gonna leave it in its original condition. I'm not gonna mess it up and get to tearing it down and making it something that it's not. And my second decision was, I'm definitely not listening to their voice that told me not to race. Man, God put this in my heart for a reason, man, and it won't go away. I said, no, that wasn't the voice of God. That was the voice of the enemy trying to take a dream out of my heart. So you might be asking yourself, well, Jay, what the hell are you gonna do then if you're not gonna redo the 520 Grando and you're not gonna give up on the race? Well, I'm gonna do the only thing that I can do. Believe for something bigger that I can see happening. And what that is, I'm gonna be determined to try to save up and buy a whole new bike just for this race. And boy, it's gonna be a daunting task ahead, because I only have like 5 months or 5 or 6 months before this race begins, and I have to buy a new bike, get the bags, get the equipment, get everything I need, all in time to get the hell out of here, ride to Canada on that bike, and get into the race. It's gonna be one hell of a challenge. Just to put it in perspective for you, the bike I'm looking at buying costs over 2 times the amount of my 520 Grando. And when I got that 520 Grando, I was like, man, this is an amazing accomplishment for myself. You know, I thought there was a lot of money, you know, more than I've ever spent on a bike. And now I have to go more than 2 times that in a short amount of time, man. I promise you. Luckily, I serve a God that can send an explosive blessing and change everything. But man, I can't get the dream out of my heart. So I have to attempt to do this. Not to mention the supplies, not to mention the new bags. And it's a lot of things I have to do, man. But I'm not gonna give up on my dream, and I'm not gonna ride a bike that's incapable of at least trying to compete for that #1 spot. You know, I love my 520 Grando, and it's gonna take me on some amazing touring trips. But for this race, I do need something else. I need something else, man. I know some of you are probably saying, Jay, what are you even worried about this for? You can't beat these guys. You're just a regular person. It's pros and athletes, people who ride bikes for a living out there. Why are you even worried about it? You know, even my boss said, Jay, you're gonna be competing against Michael Jordans of the cycling world. You can't win. What are you thinking about? And you know what? I have a dream, man. I have a dream to beat those Michael Jordans. You know why? Because I'm a damn Michael Jordan, you know? And I believe that, and I'm gonna try my best to accomplish that. I tell you one thing, I'm not going out there with a second place mentality, you know? I believe I'm more mentally strong than anybody competing. And you know what? I need the bike to help me prove it. So although I'm still super happy with God blessing me with my new Trek 520 Grando, I now have a new journey and a new dream. And it's time for me to go after that dream right now. And if you have a dream in your heart, even if it seems impossible, it's time for you to go for your dreams as well. But if you just want to ride somewhere, you know, to pick up some groceries, to do a few runs, you don't have to be in a car. All you have to do is get on your bike and take a ride.